6 meters. That used to be the dream height in pole vaulting, the line only legends could cross, but for Mondo Duplantis, 6 meters is just a warm-up. At the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo, Duplantis didn't just defend his title. He set his 14th world record, clearing 6.30 meters with ease, while the rest of the field struggled to even touch 6. His closest rival was 30 centimeters behind, a gulf that in this sport feels like miles. So how has one man separated himself so far from the rest of the world? Why does every centimeter he clears feel like watching history? And can anyone, in this generation or the next, even hope to catch him? Let's rewind. Pole vault is unlike any other event in track and field. In the 100 meters, you can shave off hundredths of a second. In the long jump, maybe a few centimeters. But in pole vault, the bar moves 1 centimeter at a time. Progress is microscopic, agonizing. That's what makes it so compelling. Every record isn't just a victory, it's a breakthrough. And right now, Mondo Duplantis is the man redefining those breakthroughs. In Tokyo, September 2025, he lined up with the world watching, the stadium buzzing, the runway gleaming under the lights. The bar was set at 6.30 meters, a height no other human had ever cleared. But for Duplantis, this wasn't unfamiliar territory. He had been here before, 13 times in fact, each time raising the bar 1 centimeter, each time daring gravity to stop him. The jump was textbook Mondo. Smooth sprint, perfect pole plant, his body folding and twisting midair with impossible grace. And then the clearance, clean, easy, decisive. World record number 14. Behind him, the rest of the field battled at a different level. Greece's Emmanuel Corrales took silver with 6.00 meters. Australia's Curtis Marshall managed bronze with 5.95. Impressive marks, but nowhere near the stratosphere Duplantis inhabits. The gap between first and second wasn't just 30 centimeters. It was a gulf of ability, consistency, and confidence. For context, 6.00 meters is still a mark that separates great vaulters from good ones. Only a handful of men in history have ever managed it. For Corrales, clearing 6 was the highlight of his career. For Duplantis, it's just the entry fee. And that's the story of his dominance. He's not just winning, he's resetting the definition of what winning even means. Think of it this way. In the last 5 years, Duplantis has cleared over 6 meters more than 80 times. His rivals, combined, they haven't done it even half that often. The consistency is what crushes them. They fight for the occasional breakthrough. He lives there. It's why watching Duplantis almost feels unfair. You see him on the runway and know the outcome. Gold is inevitable. The only suspense is how high he'll go, how much further he'll push the limits of human flight. And the magic of it all? He does it 1 centimeter at a time. Tiny increments, but each one carving his name deeper into the record books. That's why Mondo isn't just an athlete. He's the world's bar setter. And the question every competitor now faces is brutal. How do you chase a man who seems untouchable? When people watch Mondo Duplantis vault, they often say it looks effortless. Smooth, elegant, almost casual. But that's the illusion. Behind every clearance is a blend of biomechanics, mindset, and technology that sets him apart from everyone else. Start with speed. Mondo accelerates down the runway with the stride of a sprinter. He hits top-end velocity faster than most pole vaulters, which gives him a higher kinetic base to convert into vertical lift. The pole doesn't just bend under his weight, it stores energy like a spring, then whips him upward. Most athletes can't control that kind of torque. Mondo does it with precision, then comes technique. In pole vault, the plant is everything. If the pole isn't set perfectly into the box, if the hands aren't locked, the vault dies before it begins. Duplantis has mastered the plant. His takeoff foot is consistent to the millimeter, his body alignment near flawless. And once he's airborne, his form separates him. He inverts his body with gymnastic control, swinging upside down and driving upward, before arching over the bar like liquid motion. Psychologically, he's just as unique. Most vaulters get rattled by high stakes. The bar rises, the pressure mounts, and suddenly a clear at 5.80 looks shaky. Mondo thrives on pressure. He's famous for asking officials to raise the bar higher after he's already secured gold. Where others protect their lead, he gambles with history. That fearlessness has produced 14 world records, and counting. But there's another piece of the puzzle: equipment. Pole vault isn't just about the athlete. It's about the pole, the shoes, the runway. And here too, Duplantis is ahead of the curve. He's one of the first elite vaulters to use the claw, a specialized spike designed with extra grip on the forefoot. That grip allows a more aggressive plant into the box, crucial when you're running at near sprint speed. Combine that with stiffer carbon fiber poles, engineered to store and release more energy, and you get an athlete using technology as a multiplier. Critics sometimes ask, is it the gear or the man? The answer is both. Sergei Bubka, the Soviet legend of the 1980s, dominated with fiberglass poles that were revolutionary for their time. Renaud Lavillenie, the Frenchman, pushed heights with lighter composite designs. Every generation of vaulting has seen equipment improve, but Duplantis is maximizing that evolution with skill nobody else can match. That's why even 1 centimeter matters. To the casual fan, it looks trivial. But in pole vault, 1 centimeter means bending the pole just slightly harder, hitting the plant just slightly cleaner, trusting your body to hold form while clearing a bar set at a height nobody else can imagine. For Mondo, it's the perfect balance of science and art. For his rivals, it's a nightmare. Because every time he raises the bar, he's not just competing against them, he's competing against physics. And so far, he keeps winning. Every sport has its rivalries. Ali versus Frazier, Bolt versus Gay, McLaughlin versus Bull. But in men's pole vault, there's Mondo Duplantis. And then everyone else. The scoreboard in Tokyo told the story clearly. Duplantis soared to 6.30 meters, breaking his own world record. Behind him, Emanuel Corrales of Greece claimed silver at exactly 6.00 meters. Australia's Curtis Marshall took bronze at 5.95. For most athletes, clearing those heights would define a career. But compared to Mondo, they weren't even in the same zip code. That 30-centimeter gap might not sound like much, but in pole vault, it's monumental. Think about it. Corrales had the best competition of his life. He joined the exclusive 6-meter club, something only a dozen men in history have ever done. Yet, on the night he achieved that milestone, he was still dwarfed by Duplantis' performance. So why can't the others catch him? Part of it is technical. Corrales and Marshall are superb athletes, but they lack Duplantis' runway speed and pole control. At their peaks, they can challenge 6 meters, but they can't live there. For them, it's a breakthrough. For him, it's routine. Another part is mental. Most vaulters climb the ladder cautiously, celebrating small PRs and hanging on to every hard-earned clearance. Mondo treats world records like checkpoints. That mindset, raising the bar when others would be satisfied, creates an unbridgeable psychological gap. His rivals are competing against him. He's competing against history. Equipment matters too. Duplantis has been quick to adopt innovations like the claw spikes and stiffer poles. Rivals can copy his gear, but they can't copy his timing, rhythm, or sheer confidence with those tools. Using a stiffer pole doesn't guarantee success. It often leads to more failed attempts. For Mondo, it's an extension of his body. For others, it's a gamble. History gives us perspective. In the 1980s, Sergei Bubka was the untouchable giant of pole vault. He won 6 straight world championships, setting world records almost at will. His rivals, great vaulters in their own right, couldn't keep up because Bubka combined athletic talent with new fiberglass pole technology. Now, Duplantis is doing the same with modern equipment and his unique skill set. So what would it take to close the gap? Rivals would need more than just perfect technique. They'd need consistency, hitting 6 meters not once or twice a season, but every time they compete. They'd need innovation, training breakthroughs, biomechanical tweaks, mental toughness on par with Mondo's. And perhaps most importantly, they'd need him to falter, an injury, a mistake, a loss of motivation. Until then, they're chasing a man who has made the impossible routine. For fans, that's both thrilling and frustrating. Thrilling because we're witnessing greatness. Frustrating because rivalries only spark when the competition feels close. And right now, Duplantis has no equal. The question isn't whether someone can catch him in 2025, it's whether anyone can catch him this decade. So where does Mondo Duplantis go from here? After all, he already holds 14 world records, 3 world titles, and an Olympic gold medal. He's vaulted higher than anyone in history, leaving his rivals 30 centimeters behind. For most athletes, there's nothing left to prove. But for Mondo, the bar is never high enough. That's the strange beauty of pole vault. It's endless. Unlike sprinting, where world records drop by tenths or hundredths of a second, pole vault advances 1 centimeter at a time. That tiny margin creates a never-ending horizon. Every meet offers a chance to push a little higher, to set a new mark that seemed unreachable just months before. Experts believe the ceiling hasn't been reached yet. Duplantis himself has said he feels capable of 6.35 meters, maybe even more. Given his trajectory, it's not out of the question. His body is still young, his technique improving, and his confidence unshakable. Each centimeter may look small on paper, but stacked together, they tell the story of an athlete still climbing. Technology is also on his side. The poles he uses are already stiffer and lighter than those of previous generations, and advances in carbon fiber design are still being tested. Runway surfaces continue to evolve, allowing faster and more stable approaches. Even his spikes, the claw, represent how small tweaks in equipment can unlock massive advantages when every detail matters. The future of pole vault may be as much about engineering as athleticism, but it's not just equipment, it's the sport itself. Pole vault is attracting more investment, more young athletes, and more nations than ever before. Competitors like Corrales, Marshall, and others are pushing their own limits, and while they trail Duplantis now, the pressure they create will force him to keep innovating. The next decade could see a golden era of vaulting, where 6-meter clearances become common, and Mondo's legacy is tested not just by himself, but by a new generation inspired to chase him. And then there's LA 2028. The Olympics returning to US soil will be the biggest stage track and field has seen in years. For Duplantis, who competes for Sweden but was raised in Louisiana, it will be a homecoming of sorts, and perhaps the defining chapter of his career. Imagine him stepping onto the runway in front of a roaring American crowd, raising the bar to heights nobody has ever seen before. That's the kind of moment that cements immortality. Of course, nothing lasts forever. Injuries, fatigue, or the simple limits of the human body will eventually come for him. But right now, Duplantis isn't just competing, he's soaring. And as long as he keeps running down that runway, pole in hand, the rest of the world will keep looking up. Because in pole vault, progress isn't measured in seconds or meters. It's measured 1 centimeter at a time. And every time the bar rises, Mondo Duplantis shows us that the sky is not the limit.